On today's show, what is taking the Dallas Mavericks so long to officially and firmly confirm that they're going to deny the Knicks' request to interview Jason Kidd? I don't know, but I know how all of this is going to end, and I'll tell you in today's Locked On Mavs. Stop it! Stop! The number one pick will go to the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg will fly in Dallas.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
And welcome. You are Locked On to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use that code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. And joining me, as always, my co-host, media member covering the Mavs for 10 years, right alongside me, the Deny Dude, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I am just so excited that we got to see Don Nelson. I mean, the
Back on the
legend,
scene.
Don Nelson, baby, left the farm.
He passed it to the
Hawaii.
left? What'd you say?
The what?
He passed it to the left?
No. He left the farm in Hawaii.
Oh, he was
to
passing
make-
it there. Okay.
to make the trip. So it's just Don is like literally a legend. So to see Don Nelson press conference and all the stuff in Oklahoma City, much deserved for him winning the award.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk about Don Nelson. We'll talk about his Luka protest, the shoes, and I really want to talk about this because I want to hear Rick Carlisle's laugh. It's diabolical and very funny, and we'll have a good time talking about that. We'll also talk about some Cooper Flagg news. The Mavs are making a pre-draft visit with him, and what does that mean? We'll also talk about some free agency news with Miles Turner. How does that affect the Mavericks and potentially Daniel Gafford? But let's start here. We'll answer a bunch of questions from a mailbag we did on our text line. 214-643-8637 is the text line. And we got a bunch of questions from you guys. And let's start with this one because this one stood out to me. Why did it take so long for the Mavericks to not very strongly say that they would deny the Knicks' request to interview Kidd? And this has kind of been my question. And it was kind of my question back on Friday, the last show we did, because the Rockets, as soon as the news came out that the New York Knicks were interested in both Jason Kidd and Ime Udoka, and they both are under contract. So the Knicks would have to formally request to interview both those coaches. And then the team that is employing them can deny that. The Rockets immediately said that's not going to happen, floated it back to Stein basically and said we will firmly deny the Knicks' request to interview Ime Udoka. And you're like, okay, cool. That's within their right. Ime is a great coach. He's been doing great things for that Rockets team, raising their level, all that. The Mavericks, Mark Stein couldn't confirm or deny if the Mavericks would also deny their request. And we didn't until just recently in a recent Mark Stein post, which, by the way, Mark Stein's Substack is a must for any Dallas Mavericks fan. We reference it almost every day at this point. Shout out to Mark Stein.
It's a good sub.
He said, Dallas, though, can simply refuse to grant the Knicks permission to speak with Kidd once formally asked. And I've heard from a few well-placed observers this week who believe that the Mavericks would ultimately do just that. Isaac, why have the Mavs not come out and firmly said, no, they will deny this? Because even that mention is well-placed observers, not even sources. He didn't specifically say sources within the team. And he said, we'll ultimately do just that. Not they are going to do that. Why are they so shaky and flimsy on this Jason Kidd interview request thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely dragging out. It's turned into a little mini saga in a way, and it doesn't have to be that, right? If, to your point, if this was, if they were requesting, if they're interested in Dagnall in Oklahoma City, we would get a pretty strong thing from every media source. Heck, we might even get a Presti statement saying, we're happy with Mark. Stay away.
Spoelstra in Miami, same thing. Would have Pat Riley to come out and be like, no, not going to happen.
Yeah, so there's a reason why you haven't seen Ime in any other news, right? It was pretty set after that Houston shot it down. So with Kidd, from the very beginning, there's a reason why, people flamed us in our comments on the first show we did about it, but there was real legs to that. There are real connections to Kidd and some grumblings around or behind the scenes about that situation. Even listen to Zach Lowe over the weekend or after his pod after game one, and he was talking about it on his show. He's like, there's some definite legs to it. We got to see how it plays out and stuff from there. So I think, it's hard to talk about even stuff behind the scenes with this situation, because then you're talking about tampering, and we know the Knicks and with the Mavs have a history with that. Brad Townsend was referencing that on Twitter, of saying, hey, if this is the route the Knicks want to go, they better do everything by the book, basically, because Dallas, had a sour taste in their mouth after the Brunson thing, and they actually got caught with the Brunson thing and all that, New York did. So, but let me just hedge all of that. We still haven't gotten the Knicks have officially asked permission from the Dallas Mavericks for Jason Kidd.
We haven't gotten either side.
I know. And I think everybody's just waiting on Kidd. Like, I know that technically you got to request the permission, get the permission before they can even negotiate with Kidd for you to know if Kidd wants to go to New York or not. But bullcrap. Like, the Knicks aren't going to request this. This isn't just like a random assistant coach, on a random other team that, like, you request permission and then you figure it out from there.
Or like Sean Sweeney interviewed with the Suns.
Yeah, teams are requesting permission to talk to Sweeney. He's under contract, and they're granting that because they want him to be a head, all this stuff. Jason Kidd's not a random assistant coach, so you're not going to do all of this unless you have it on pretty good authority that Kidd is pretty interested in that situation in New York. So I think that's what, personally, my read on the whole situation is. We're all waiting on Jason Kidd right now, and that's just my opinion.
You know why? You know why we're waiting on Jason Kidd?
Does it start with an L and end with an E?
It ends in Everidge. He's doing this for leverage. We know Jason Kidd at this point, and Jason Kidd in each organization he's gone to has figured out ways to get more power, to get front office control.
He just
in some
wants
spots.
to touch the car.
He does just want to touch the car.
I have to apologize.
And I think this is all for leverage. Tim McMahon agrees with me. He recently said on one of his shows that, it's certainly feasible scenario that Jason Kidd ends up with a restructured extension after all this.
That'd be hilarious, by the way.
Which is going to happen. That's what's going to happen. That's why this is all dragging out. Both sides, it feels like, at least publicly, and maybe this is all nothing in all the reporting, but I'm not taking Stein's reporting as nothing ever, right? Like somebody recently in our comments was like, oh, this is no news, bad sources. And I'm like, I'm never saying that about Mark Stein's sources.
No. I think there's definitely people within the organization that's like, I don't think that they would let him go, and they're giving their own opinions about it. But I will say once again, if Jason Kidd lets it know to Nico Harrison and the Mavs, hey, I want to go to New York, I really, really don't think Nico and the crew there is going to shut that down. I know people reference the Nico Jason Kidd came in as a package deal, and they were together in the post conference in Cleveland after the Luka deal and all this stuff. And some people want to tie them, exactly together. Before this past season, there were some real tensions between in those parties when it came to decision making. Yeah, before stuff so that's why I'm just like, I don't think just because New York's going to ask that Nico's like, no, we're best friends. We came in as a package deal. We're shooting it down. I think we would have heard it very loud and clear by now. And I just think that everybody's waiting at this point of like, hey, is Jason Kidd actually going to be interested? And then if Jason Kidd is interested in the New York deal, I think then we'll get the tweet from Shams or somebody that says they have officially requested to talk to Jason Kidd. I still think it has a lot of legs, and there's a chance that it could happen.
It is funny that we're hearing from both sides. Like, the Knicks might do this, the Mavericks might do this. It's like both sides are just kind of waiting until enough information comes out for them to not look stupid publicly by the Knicks making a formal request and the Mavericks denying it, because that would just be embarrassing for the Knicks, right? Like,
yeah, and I also thought, like, once Tibbs got fired, I think a lot of people were like, oh, they already have their choice made, right? And Johnny O'Bryant didn't get the deal, didn't get the job in Phoenix. He was an assistant there. A lot of players love him as like an up and coming future head coach. And at first I was like, okay, he's going to be the pick. They fired Tibbs to just promote O'Brien. He didn't get the job in Phoenix, so because he's going to get the New York job, but they haven't did it. So that now you see different reporting. Howard Beck, different people, they're like, yeah, I don't think they made this firing with a single person in mind. And now it's like, what are they going to do? But I think we do get an answer to this situation sometime in the next 72 hours.
It's a classic offseason just game that both sides are playing. Leverage play to try and get more money, to try and get more security, to try and get everything. And it's a game. And so we'll be here on this show.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
It feels weird that we've had to do multiple shows about this. And I kind of get people that's like, dude, why are you still talking about this? Why are we? That's the whole point of this.
That's
we
what we're
shouldn't be
saying.
talking about it. I know. It should have been shot down if this was going to like be done and over with. So it's carried on, and that's why it's a story, because it hasn't been shut down.
It hasn't been shut down. What hasn't also been shut down is Cooper Flagg. He's doing his pre-draft interview with the Mavericks. He's doing his visit. He's coming June 17th. And so we'll talk about what does that mean? Will he make other pre-draft visits? And more of your questions coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Monarch Money. Monarch Money, I enjoy it. I use it myself because I have different kinds of cards and different kinds of accounts and financial, ventures and different things like that. And you have all these different things all in different places, and you've got to figure out how to manage it all together. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It is one, but it's not just one. It's a complete financial command center, help you track your accounts, investments, spending all in one place so you can stop managing your money and start building wealth. I love that I can have one savings account and it gives me little different buckets that I can put stuff in, because you all want it, like your money in a high yield savings account, but then you also want to like split it, all that stuff. Great stuff on it. Easy collaboration, managing money with your partners, smoother than ever. You can track and share, shared personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Gotta love that, without like connecting bank account, like doing all that. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use Locked On NBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. The code is Locked On NBA, all one word, for half off your first year.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, what we call our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show and listening every day. We're going every day, all throughout the offseason. And it's off season, and that's why we do these stories. If you want to hear our insights first, if you want to hear what we think about these stories, text 214-643-8637. Sign up for the Locked On Mavs Insiders text line, and you'll get our thoughts before Twitter, before this show, before anything. Right from there, we'll do Q&As. All the questions from today's show came from the text line as well, and so you get different insights like that.
I sent a picture of my Rebounds Matter tattoo.
That's true. You did do a Q&A while you were getting the tattoo done, and I looked through it, and I think we got like 80 questions about your tattoo, and none of them on the Mavericks.
Yeah, I really underestimated the pain of a tattoo, so I was like, I'm just gonna sit here and answer questions.
Not small though. You didn't get one of those like little doodle tattoos that people have been doing.
No. It's a decent size, but
You say the size of somebody's hand?
Shut up! I can't. I'm gonna come over there and smack you little carrot top Kyle Korver looking thing. I'm gonna fight you.
Wow. You've taken way more. Way worse shots.
It's a sore subject, all right.
Because it hurt worse than you thought it
Steel.
was going. Because it hurt worse than you thought. A little more coaching news before we talk about Cooper Flagg.
No, yeah.
We got a question about Jay Triano. Jay Triano got added to Jason Kidd's coaching staff. This was kind of a weird thing.
Still in the process.
It's true. Rumor. We'll throw a rumor.
Not official.
We got a question. What does Jay Triano bring to the coaching staff, and why add him if Kidd might leave? This is kind of a weird timing scenario. Like, hey, Kidd may leave to go to the Knicks, and yet he's adding people to his coaching staff potentially. Jay Triano was the head coach for the Suns in 2017-18. Devin Booker was on that team. And he's the Raptors head coach from 2008 to 2011. And he's also Canada's head coach in 2000 and 2004 Olympics. He was most recently Sacramento's lead assistant. And so this brings experience. The Mavs bench has not had a ton of experience. They've had Frank Vogel around here and there. But to have a guy that's been a head coach on the bench, I think is a positive thing for you to add some experience to the bench.
Dwight Powell making a play for old Canada coach.
He didn't play in 2004, did he? No way.
I mean, I thought he was brought in the same draft as Dirk. Am I wrong? Dwight played at Reunion. No, so I mean, yeah, Jay Triano, it's all about the experience part. Alex Jensen was an assistant coach that came over from Utah, was super close with Rudy Gobert and stuff, was on, the staff there with Kidd here in Dallas. But he took the head coaching job at the University of Utah in college and stuff. So, which is a cool move for him. He gets to go back to Utah and now be a head coach there in college. But so they had an opening on the coaching staff, and I think it is a cool move if this does become official. Once again, it's not official yet. He's probably, if I'm once again reading in between the lines there, he's probably waiting on Jason Kidd too.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, he was on Sacramento staff with Doug Christie, and they fired him. They fired him and a lot of the other assistants and stuff to kind of reset the deck, I guess, with coaches around Doug Christie. And all they kept, I think, was Barbosa, Leandro Barbosa. Shout out Brazil. But, Jay Triano, he just has a lot of experience. So I'm down for that. Like, I think it's cool. I think they need more experience and stuff on there, especially with Frank Vogel. Vogel's in like a advisory type of role with like coaching. He's not technically like on the bench. So you start going down the line there. You have Sweeney, you have Jared Dudley, which Dudley is a name I would watch going forward. And you
I would love head coach Dudley. I would go to every head coach Dudley press conference ever. I would.
But like, Triano, now you had a guy who's been a head coach multiple seasons before, has a ton of experience in the league. So that's something you could see if Kidd does get his extension, like you said, or he's just back, then I think we see the Triano news pretty fast.
Cooper Flagg making his official pre-draft visit on June 17th. That got announced over the weekend. And we got a question. What is this for? What's the point of this? If they know they're going to take him, then why do this?
I mean, it's kind of like a formality, right? Like, this is why I don't think he takes any other visits with any other team, because he's the number one overall pick. You're not going to entertain anything else because Dallas is letting you know that they're taking you for the most part. Every single report and stuff, credible report saying, hey, they're taking Cooper Flagg. It's more of like, hey, let us introduce you to the city, and trust me, we're going to get some content from that. All right. Because they need all the Cooper Flagg content possibly known to mankind right now. The Mavs do. And it's great. We want to soak it all up. Like, give me all the Cooper Flagg content. But no, I think it's more of a formality. He gets to meet everybody in Dallas, get a taste of the city some, and yeah, prepare. I mean, heck, you can go ahead and look for some condos and stuff at that point. But yeah, I think it's more of that.
It's usually a visit for, it's like a more official interview for the team and the player to get to know each other, to ask questions and all that. They did the interview at the Combine, and like the Celtics interviewed him at the Combine. That was a story that came out. I think he will do another visit. I think that he...
Let me just say this real quick about the Combine. A lot of the Combine interviews are like kind of roulette, like a dating roulette thing, to where there's a ton of teams. Like, my favorite thing coming out of the Combine was like, dude, Boston interviewed him. Brad Stevens wants him. And it's like, dude, every freaking GM wants him. All right. And I guarantee he interviewed with other teams besides Boston and Dallas. So, yeah. Now, if he took literally a flight up to Boston to have an official visit with the Celtics, that's kind of weird. But this is more for the prospects in like the 2 to 3 range, 2 to 5. I mean, all the prospects down through the lottery are taking visits, going to cities and stuff. But like Dylan Harper, or, you just go down the line of, they'll narrow their list down to 4 or 5. This is where sometimes players really try to like push out a team, right? We've seen that in the past, like, oh, they refuse to go.
They tanked a workout, or they...
Yeah, or they refuse to go visit this team, in the city or whatever. And it's like, oh,
medicals.
But like for Cooper Flagg, it's easy. He's going one. Dallas has made it known they're going to take him. It's more of a formality interview. We're going to get the shot of Cooper Flagg stepping off the plane.
Oh yeah,
and it's Flagg in for his official visit. Nick and Sam's dinner. I don't know what's going to consist of it there.
How much would it break the internet if he was wearing a Luka 77 Mavs jersey as he walked off the plane, or even just like Luka's player logo? Because he probably can't do team stuff, but if he was wearing Luka's logo on it,
he's a New Balance athlete, so he's going to have his own New Balance stuff. But I was thinking about this. If you're Cooper Flagg, do you ask Nico like why you traded Luka?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
I mean, but like, what do you have to like? I don't know, lose.
Not if I don't do that if I'm 18 and I'm coming into the draft, right? Like maybe
is there a way you could ask him, be like, hey, I don't want to end up like that. So what do I need to do different?
Okay.
It just feels like the elephant in the room a little bit.
The Luka trade was obviously a really big decision for you guys. What did Luka do? Or you start going through like, what did Luka do to get you to the point that you thought to trade him, and how can I avoid that? Like you gotta have something like that. Basically.
So in between workouts, I hopped on my TikTok.
What are you looking for in a franchise player that you do want to build around for the next 10 years?
See, there you go.
That's it. I figured it out. I did the PR.
Maybe John Shire is the next coach of the Mavs.
It's fine.
Just kidding, guys.
I do think he's going to take other visits, though. I think that's just.
Oh no. I don't
Okay.
think so. You don't think like he's gonna land in Charlotte?
Just take a.
He's not gonna fly around the country.
Take a quick bus to San Antonio. They got the number 2 pick. He's done the whole song and dance of like, I don't we'll see if I'm the number 1 pick. We'll see what happens. I'm just here to do my best and blah blah blah. I don't know.
All right, we'll see if he takes the Philly official visit.
The Philly visit would be crazy. I mean, those teams could trade up.
No, they can't.
They could.
No.
Anything can happen still.
Oh, I mean, that's true. It is.
Anything
It
can happen.
is. Yep.
Coming up, every team reportedly has called on Milwaukee about Giannis. What's the Mavs offer that doesn't include Cooper Flagg? And Don Nelson protesting the Luka Doncic trade, and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by DoorDash. DoorDash, there for you when you don't want to be somewhere else getting food. You can get it delivered to you. And right now, NBA fans, they have a deal called They Swoosh, You Score. Anytime a player drops 50 or more, I think SGA were 12 points away the other night. In a playoff game, Dash Pass members score a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the very next day. Just place an order of $20 or more. Use the code Wingstop50. That's the word Wingstop altogether, and then 50, the number. At checkout, the combo is yours. Crispy, delicious, totally free. Offer valid noon to midnight the day after the game. Terms apply. My go-to from Wingstop, I'm getting the bone in. I'm getting the lemon pepper. Isaac, your go-to Wingstop.
Lemon pepper's good. I like a little honey barbecue. The wedges, good.
We do wings before Marvel movies, and I'm excited to do wings before going to see Fantastic Four soon. And you can get those delivered right to Wingstop. We can do our pregame right from home with Dash Pass. Here's the play. Sign up for Dash Pass. Unlock that deal. Again, when somebody drops 50 points in a playoff game, Dash Pass members grab free 3-piece crispy tenders combo. Wingstop50 is the promo code. That's Dash Pass. Your door to more savings, more flavor, and more ways to win. Terms apply.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac, we're answering your questions from the Locked On Mavs text line. 214-643-8637 is the line. All of these questions directly from you guys. And Mark Stein, in another report, said that every team has called Milwaukee about the Giannis situation. So the question that came in was, what would the Mavs offer if they're not trying to trade Cooper Flagg?
Nothing. A reunion tower.
You got 3 picks. You could do Lively.
They would have to think that Lively is the next Kareem for a package without Cooper Flagg to make sense. Like that other teams just can't. Like that's the thing. It's like they have salaries to match. They have first to throw in there. But if your other teams, they're gonna beat that every day.
What about AD, Max Christie, and the Lakers 2029 first round pick?
That's a really good package. I could get you any generational star in the league. No, I mean, yeah, okay. Let me tell you about it. Obviously, if Milwaukee really loves Anthony Davis and they're like, we really want a win now player right now, currently, then yeah, it's an AD, picks, Lively. I think if you're trading Giannis, you're kind of like trying to get some like really like A+ young guys in picks and all this stuff, but I don't think Giannis is in play for Dallas. New York?
I don't think he is either, but they do have Anthony Davis's, they can send Anthony Davis and some, picks and so, a young player or two. I don't know if it's the best package out there, but it is one. Yeah. But I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. He said every team has called Milwaukee. All right, Don Nelson, who was the former coach of the Dallas Mavericks and then became the coach of the Warriors to beat the Mavericks in that first round series. Just a legendary career, obviously, with the Mavericks and in the NBA in general. He won the Chuck Daly Lifetime Achievement Award for coaches. Rick Carlisle is the head of the Coaches Association, so he's always represented at these, press conferences and award ceremonies and all this kind of stuff for these coaches. He's been a big advocate for coaches across the league. And Don Nelson had some choice words to say about Luka Doncic, the trade, his own individual protest he was doing, and then listen to Rick Carlisle's laugh in the middle of this because it floored me.
And Luka, too, my dear friend. As a matter of fact, I want everybody to know I'm wearing Luka's shoes, his new shoes from Nike. They just got on the market, and I'm wearing them in protest for the trade from Dallas. I think it was a tremendous mistake by the Dallas franchise to trade him, and I want everybody to know that.
Tremendous mistake. But can we start with Rick Carlisle's laugh? How diabolical is this and evil is that laugh?
That guy's looking straight up like the villain from Sonic the Hedgehog. Just needs a huge stash. No, that was diabolical, the laugh. And Rick's enjoying that. But obviously, for Don Nelson, his son, Donnie Nelson.
Right.
It was Donnie's front office and scouts and everybody and the people close to him that was scouting Luka forever. And, that we started hearing stuff, a year before the Luka draft and how much they loved him and stuff and how much they've been to watch him and stuff in Europe. And like a lot of teams, not saying that Donnie found him or anything like that. It's nothing like that. Luka was already...
He told Real Madrid about him. Like, he was like, hey, there's this 12-year-old you really got to check out.
That was LeBron. No, LeBron found Luka.
LeBron read it in a book.
Stop. And so, there's some ties there, obviously with his son and stuff,
right.
And drafting Luka and a lot of loyalties and stuff to Luka with his son and that front office and all the things. So it is pretty wild though that, it's once again reminded about the Luka trade. You can never get away from it really.
A tremendous mistake by the Dallas Mavericks to trade him. What a quote.
While he's getting a Lifetime Achievement Award for himself. He's like, I'm gonna take this moment to dump another thing on top of Nico.
What a dais of Rick Carlisle, who was fired / left the Mavericks, and then Don Nelson, whose son was fired, and
they're up there on stage together,
just laughing at the Mavs' downfall in some way. Wild. I just thought that was so funny. Rick Carlisle's laugh just kills me in that.
Oh yeah, it's great. I loved all of it.
Is there more to this? This is another ramification of we've obviously the Dirk situation is brutal that he has distanced himself from the franchise so much. I still don't think he's mentioned or posted anything about the Mavs winning the lottery, which is wild to me that he hasn't even mentioned it or said congrats Mavs or blah 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 or posted a flag emoji or something snarky.
Cooper's like, can I meet Dirk? And they're
literally literally
I
nothing.
think we don't have his number anymore.
But now even a franchise legend like Don Nelson is calling the franchise out, saying a tremendous mistake and talking about wearing their shoes in protest. I'm in an unrelated, NBA event.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of younger fans or under a certain age range, they don't really know who Don is, or they don't understand the legend status of Don. I think fans, there's one thing to know a GM. There's a lot of Mavs fans that know about, even younger fans know about Donnie Nelson probably as a general manager. But I mean, what's the age cutoff that you say that people they don't really know a ton about Don Nelson, or they're like, who's this guy?
Oh, I think you gotta be born in the 1900s.
So 2000, 2001, you're born there. You don't have
probably
25?
not. You're probably not.
Probably not. Yeah. So I don't think it's that big. I think Dirk is one of the biggest things. It's nowhere near to this level of Dirk distancing himself from the franchise and all that stuff, and all the people from that inner circle outside of Jason Kidd is gone.
Yeah.
Even when you look at Scott Tomlin, who's director of PR, and Dirk and Casey Smith and Cuban and all the people that was making him. But I mean, Michael Finley's still there. But anyway, that's just Yeah, I don't think the Don Nelson stuff holds a ton of weight for a lot of Mavs fans.
It just sucks, is what it does.
Yeah, it does, for sure.
That's it. So there you go. There's some answers to your questions. There's talk about Jason Kidd, about Cooper Flagg's visit, and all that kind of stuff. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Guys, thanks for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.
Tumultuous. Is that that's I said it right?